In this video, we're going to introduce you to the online store e-commerce business model. And this training is called WP Online Store because we're going to show you step by step how to set up your very own e-commerce website where you're selling physical products just like Zappos.com or Amazon.com using WordPress. And so it's a very powerful software, as you know WordPress is, and you can actually use a tool called WooCommerce to turn it into an e-commerce store. So we're going to demonstrate this for you. On the right hand side here I have a couple of examples of e-commerce sites. This top one is called Judith Hobby Clothing. They sell apparel for women, and they actually are running their entire business off of WooCommerce. And then the bottom two examples, those are actually examples pulled straight from the WooCommerce website as well. So you can see how it looks, kind of their default version, and then some cool designs and things you can do with it if you look at the Judith hobby example. Now again, just so you know, you're not limited to selling clothing. It just so happens to be a popular item that people do buy and sell on the internet, but it is just so you can see an example of what this looks like. So the WooCommerce plugin, it turns your WordPress into an online store, and you can actually create a search engine friendly e-commerce storefront without having to be an expert at coding or anything like that. You also don't have to pay monthly fees like many popular e-commerce hosting solutions charge, like BigCommerce or Shopify, some of the big ones out there, Volusion, and those types of websites where they charge you a high monthly fee. With WordPress, you can get WooCommerce, which is free to install, and it allows you to leverage the power of WordPress. We know out of the box, by default, WordPress is already search engine friendly, so it's a great platform for you to build up an e-commerce store. The model that we're going to be talking about mainly is the drop shipping model, and that's where you can actually set up your store and get inventory for products without having to actually store the inventory at your home, in your garage, in your apartment, or in a big warehouse. You can actually sell products on the internet via drop shipping, meaning once somebody orders the product, then it gets shipped out to your customer. So the customer orders the product from your website, you keep the profits, and then you end up your outsourcer, or the person that you are sourcing the products from, the supplier that is actually doing the drop shipping for you, they would ship the item with your business name on the packaging. So for example, you buy an item for $50 and the cost of that item is $35. So your profit would be $15 on that item before processing fees. So that gives you an indication as to how this business model works. So you basically, you know what your cost is for the item, and you know kind of roughly what it will sell for, and you can do your own market research like Amazon and look at other websites online. And you don't want to just stick with Amazon for your research, because Amazon tends to lowball prices, and not everybody shops on Amazon, even though a lot of people do. Should not discourage you, because there's a pile of websites out there making a lot of money. So that's, in a nutshell, is kind of what the drop shipping business model is all about though. Supplier then would actually ship the product for you after you contact them. And usually it's just a matter of a simple email to them. And once you really get going, there's more sophisticated ways to do it where you could automate different software systems to automatically send an email once an order takes place. But if you're just starting out and building up your e-commerce store like in a weekend or in a very short time, then this is a good way to start out. You could just simply find a dropship supplier that will do drop shipping, do some research on them and the products they carry, and then you would just send an email to them every time an order is placed. You could also go through a fulfillment house, and that would be where you could purchase items in bulk. And that's kind of a riskier venture though, especially if you're starting out. Drop shipping is probably the safest way. And a fulfillment house though does actually make it simple enough to where you don't actually have to be living in an area that's loaded with boxes. You don't have to have your garage filled with them, your apartment, a spare bedroom. You don't have to do the fulfillment and shipping on your own. You could actually find a company that you could ship the products to, so you could buy them in bulk from the manufacturer at a super low price, and then you could contact a company that would actually fulfill them for you. And buying inventory in bulk will actually make your cost even less, which means your profit per sale are much higher. But then again, you also have the risk of sitting on that inventory as well. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're starting out, I would not advise fulfillment right away. Another idea is you could just store the inventory in your house, but that's complicated, it's messy, and it takes more work because you're having to run to the post office all the time. And that's why we're going to kind of stick with the drop shipping business model for this, because this is meant for those of you that are starting out, want to start your own e-commerce store that you can sell and build up your own asset. So ways that you can process payments right away. PayPal is a great method, and then Stripe is another one. They actually accept credit cards. These are two of the quickest payment processors, and we're going to discuss those for setting up. But PayPal is a tremendous one again, and Stripe. Those are two payment processors that usually you can get up and running with in just a matter of minutes. And then you could also go with your own merchant account. So once you've really built up your business through PayPal or through Stripe, or actually accepting both payments, you could go ahead and contact a merchant account. So somebody that would actually process payments for you. That is what a merchant account is. So then after that, once your store is all set up, you have it loaded with products, you know what products you're going to carry, you've put in some unique descriptions, you've got images loaded up for the products, and you're ready to sell. It's time to get traffic to that. And we'll touch briefly on some of the more popular traffic methods. By default, as we build our site, it's going to be built to be search engine friendly, so it's optimized for the search engines. And then while you're doing this, every time you get more traffic and you get more sales, you are building up an online asset. And websites that are e-commerce based, they do tend to carry a good price tag on them. So this is a tremendous business model that you can pursue and be building a great asset for as well.